Before we start chapter 17, let's do a recap. So we have this population, a large group of individuals. We don't know what the population mean is, so we take one sample to get a sample mean, and then we estimate the population mean from the sample mean. So we use the sample mean to estimate the population mean. This process of using the information from a sample to estimate some parameters about the population is called statistical inference. And tests of significance is a type of statistical inference, and we'll get into details later. Now, maybe I should be a little bit more specific. When we say we don't know what mu is, there are actually two scenarios. One is we really don't know what mu is. We have no idea how big, how small. And the other thing is we kind of know what mu is, but we don't think that value is true anymore. For example, mu is the population mean time for a student to graduate. So everybody thinks it takes 4 years to graduate. So mu is 4 years. But as a researcher, I don't think it's true anymore. I think because everybody works so much these days, so many part-time jobs and things like that, it takes more than 4 years for a student to graduate. So I don't think this 4 is true anymore. So as a researcher, I need to collect data, collect evidence to show that mu is not 4 anymore. Before we go to the specifics, let me explain one more time the basic idea of hypothesis tests. So actually, tests of significance, there's another term for that. It's called hypothesis tests, or sometimes we conduct hypothesis testing. The idea is very similar to a legal principle. So under the court of law, everybody is presumed innocent until proven guilty. So as a prosecutor, you want to prosecute that person. So what you need to do, you need to collect evidence. You need to collect a high level of evidence so that you can prosecute the person, challenge that presumption of innocence. Now, in hypothesis testing, we don't have an innocent person, but we have you can think about an innocent assumption. So we have some kind of assumption about the mu. Let's say mu is 4 years. So everybody thinks that is true. But as a researcher, Olivia, I don't think mu is, let's say this is let's say mu is 4. Okay, so let me make it less messy. So let's say everybody thinks that it takes 4 years to graduate. So this is a common knowledge, mu is 4. As a researcher, I don't think that's true anymore. So what I need to do is I need to collect evidence. Basically, I need to collect data. And hopefully, my data will help me to challenge the assumption. Hopefully, after collecting my data and doing some analysis, I can say, I told you, mu is not 4 anymore. Now, the key question is, so how much evidence do you need in order to say that the assumption on mu is not true? So how much evidence do you need? So let's say this is the number line. This is 4. So mu is 4 is here. Let's say I have a sample. The sample mean is 4 years and 2 months. Let's say I take a small sample of undergraduates, and I found that the average time for the people in my sample to graduate is 4 years and 2 months. So 4 is here, and say 4 years and 2 months is this point. Now, it's still pretty close to 4, right? My sample mean. So do I have enough evidence to say that mu is not 4 anymore? So this distance between my sample mean and mu, is it too small? Because you know that mu is not going to be exactly the same as our sample mean. So is 4 years, 2 months is not far enough from 4? Or let's say if I have let's say I have another sample mean, and this time the sample mean is 4 years and 9 months. Okay, so it's father. This is 4 years and 9 months. So this is my sample mean. Now this time my sample mean is farther away from the 4. So is it good enough? Do I have enough evidence? So the first question is, how far does my sample mean have to be in order to say that, I have enough evidence. I told you it's not 4 anymore. How far is far enough? Another way to think about this is, how extreme do I need my sample mean to be? Extreme meaning far away from mu. How far or how extreme my sample mean have to be in order to say that I have enough evidence to tell the whole world that mu is not 4 anymore. So this part is going to be the key. How much evidence and how to analyze the evidence are going to be the key issues that we need to discuss in this chapter.